Since October 7th, we Jews have been struggling to understand why is it that our friends on the left, those who are in favor of peace, democracy, and freedom of rights for all, why are they pro-Hamas? We cannot understand what happened. We thought these people are our friends, and now they're marching in favor of the death cult, which is Hamas. I mean, Greta Thunberg, what on earth? Isn't she pro-peace? Isn't she pro-life? Isn't she pro-climate? Why would she be supporting a death cult like Hamas? This short comment from brilliant British journalist Melanie Phillips sums it up really, really well. Watch this.
Our side, the defenders of Jews, Israel, and righteousness and justice and truth. We've been adopting a strategy which is completely the wrong strategy. We play defense. Right. Once you play defense, you're on the territory defined by the enemy, and you've had it. We should be going on to the attack. We should be going on to the front foot. Now, how do we do that? One way is this. The Achilles heel of these people who are telling these lies. Why is the left so besotted by this cause that it literally runs out the room, won't go into the room, has to shut down the argument? The mindset works like this. If I'm a left-wing person, I'm a left-wing person because I'm moral and decent. I'm moral and decent, and therefore I'm a left-wing person. What does that mean? Well, as a left-wing person, I believe in compassion and in justice and standing up against abuses of power and against all prejudice and bigotry, for people living together and for coming together. I agree with all those things, okay? But this is how the leftist thinks. The leftist thinks that because I believe in these things, I therefore support these various causes. One of the causes is the Palestinian people. I believe as a left-wing person that the Palestinian people are among the most oppressed of the earth, and they've been oppressed by the Israelis, who are colonialist oppressors, blah, blah, blah. Fine. I'm a moral person. Here is my Palestinian support badge. That shows everybody, including me, that I'm a moral person. October 7 happens, and the left-wing person goes, what happened here? What? I'm being told that the people I support as victims of the Israelis, that they did what? They raped and they beheaded and they slaughtered and they tortured. They dismembered children in front of their parents. No, that can't possibly be, because these people are the oppressed and couldn't do that. And these people are the oppressors. And if it were true that this happened, what does that make me? It makes me a really bad person. So we saw the phenomenon that feminists, Me Too feminists, said, we don't believe this. Didn't happen. And the people who said, okay, so maybe some bad things did happen that day, but it's Israel's fault. Now, why? Because otherwise, if I were to think that what Melanie is saying, even part of it is true, my whole moral and political personality would fragment and shatter. I would no longer be moral. What would I be? I hear this the whole time. What am I now? Oh my goodness. I'm becoming right-wing and therefore evil. So we have to do to them what they do to us, but with truth on our side rather than lies. You are not progressive. You are supporting tyranny, genocide, ethnic cleansing, and so on.
It's such a critical argument to understand. It's so important to understand the mindset of the pro-Hamas Western democratic movement. You see, this is what happens when you have values that are centered on feelings instead of absolute principles. It's like the Robin Hood mindset. Remember Robin Hood? He would steal from the rich in order to support the poor. Now, some people would say that's okay, but absolute values would say that that's actually not okay, even though he might have good intentions. It's leading to something which is absolutely evil. It is something absolutely evil. You see, when your values are based on Torah, on God, when they're religiocentric, when your values are based on an unshakable foundation of morality and ethics that doesn't depend on feelings or popularity or personality, then they're not just fair weather friends. They're always true in every situation. I'm always against tyranny, even if the people doing the tyranny are my friends. And this is what happens when we make the choice to make God a central part of our lives. Because if we banish God from our lives, there's no telling where we're going to end up. It all depends on which way the wind is blowing, which will determine where we stand. And sometimes the wind throws a huge gust at us and carries us in a place that we really don't belong. When we bring God into our lives and we say that all human beings are created in the image of God, that every single person has the right to life, and no human being has the right to hurt, torture, maim, or threaten another. It's then that we're able to look at the world truly objectively, not with a commitment to our political party, not with a commitment to our political alliance, but rather a commitment to truth, even when it's inconvenient. What's tragically happening to the Western democratic values is that they're godless. And because they're godless, they're not anchored, they're moving, they're shifting, and you never quite know where they're going to land up. But when you can bring God into your life, when you can say that I believe in the manual of the master of the universe, I recognize the right of every human being to exist, whether it's rich or poor, regardless of the color of his skin or his gender or his tax bracket, it's then that I'm able to truly represent justice and peace and ethics and morality to the world. Because what's happening right now in the world is those who purport to support peace and to support justice are essentially promoting genocide. Think about it this way. When they march in those pro-Hamas rallies and they declare from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, what they're calling for is the removal of all Jewish people from their homeland. What they're calling for is a Palestinian state where no Jews are allowed to live and no Jews are tolerated. That is essentially a call for genocide in the very same rally. They're accusing the Jews of genocide when really the one finger that's pointing at the other has three fingers pointing back at itself. The same goes for Free Palestine. When they say Free Palestine, they're calling for exactly the same thing. Free Palestine from who? From the Jews. Because they want to make Palestine Judenrein like the Nazis did to Germany. They want to free Palestine from the Jews. Those who are claiming to stand for democracy are essentially standing for genocide, for murder, for rape, beheading, and torture, everything which Hamas represents, because they've lost their anchor. It's time to go back to our core values. It's time to remember our commitment to God Almighty, our commitment to the Torah, because if you truly represent democracy, if you truly represent human rights, then it's within the Torah that we'll find those absolute values that are unshakable, that give values and rights and support to all human beings, Jews and Arabs. Everybody has the right to live a peaceful life. We've got to make sure to stand on the right side of history.